Welcome to this week's Forex forecast. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're watching this week, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 4,600 longs and they added 1,600 shorts, which leaves them still at 78% long the US dollar. In last week's weekly Forex forecast, we talked about how this trend line was coming in play. It held and rallied up, and now this trend line has broke. So now we are in a ranging market on the 4-hour chart on the US dollar. We're reacting off of this demand again. So for me on the US dollar, it's kind of a confusing time right now. In my opinion, we could easily drop to this daily area of demand that I talked about in last week's video as well, and I'll be definitely a buyer of the US dollar in that area on certain currency pairs. So stay tuned for the rest of the US dollar pairs for me to analyze. But right now, just looking at the 4-hour chart, we're ranging, so it might not be the best time to trade right now until maybe this daily or this 4-hour area of demand gets broken. But until then, you just kind of have to wait to see what's going to happen on the US dollar index. EURUSD. The past week, the banks added 5,600 longs and they added 1,700 shorts, which leaves them at 48% long to 52% short. And if you guys want this COT report spreadsheet, check out the Patreon. It is available there. Definitely check it out. It definitely helps you in your trading, so it could be a huge benefit. So links in the description. Hope to see you guys there. In last week's video, I talked about how we are at daily area of supply right here on the euro in a nice daily downtrend. So we could see price move down from this daily zone. I personally am not a fan of this daily supply zone. It's just not the kind of zone I look for, but it does not mean we won't see a reaction from there as well. So if we come over to the 1-hour chart, the biggest indication that that zone is going to hold on the daily is going to be basically having both of these 1-hour area of demands removed, and then we will have that 1-hour downtrend, and then you can start to short. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for on EURUSD. I think that's the safest option right now, because right now on the 1-hour chart and the 4-hour, we are kind of just sideways, kind of the inverse of the DXY. If you come over to the 4-hour chart on euro, you could look for 15-minute confirmation in this 4-hour area of demand. In my opinion, it's kind of low odds based on the daily trend. So if you do end up looking for 15-minute confirmation in this 4-hour demand at 1.1556, definitely consider taking profits a little bit earlier. I wouldn't look for a 3-to-1 or a 2-to-1. I would just look for maybe a 1-to-1, maybe a 2-to-1, if that, because I do think we will see reaction, but eventually blow through. And why am I saying that? Well, it's all based on this weekly and this daily downtrend. It's very strong right now, and there has been no indication that that's going to turn around, especially since we are in this daily area of supply. All right, on to Aussie dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 6,200 longs and they got rid of 8,600 short positions, which leaves them at 90% short the Aussie dollar, which is kind of confusing because price, is very sideways right now. So to me, based on this daily chart and the sideways price action, it is not a time to be entering on a 1-hour or a 4-hour chart. In my opinion, the Aussie dollar is going to be offering some day trading opportunities. So what I'm personally waiting for on the Aussie dollar, this is a 4-hour chart. We have a 4-hour uptrend right now. So that is the time frames that I'm going to be trading. I'm going to be trading the 4-hour, 1-hour, 15-minute time frame. And if you don't know what top-down analysis is, definitely check out my tips playlist. I talk about all of that in there. So I have an alert set up here at this high. So basically, when that alert goes off, I will then look for 15-minute demand zones to go long and continue to trade with this beautiful 4-hour uptrend, because I always trade with the trend. That's all I do. Right now, we're seeing a reaction off the 1-hour areas of supply on the Aussie dollar, and we're going sideways. So, once we get that move up, then I'll be looking for 15-minute longs. And if we end up getting a move down, then I'm just going to have to wait and probably look at other pairs, right? Because then this trend will be changed, and I only trade with the trend. So in my opinion, the best thing to do, maybe set an alert up here, and then look for 15-minute zones to the upside and continue that 15-minute trend. We are about to be at daily area of supply, so definitely keep that in mind. We could see a reaction from here, but in my opinion, it's been tested once already. So, what could easily happen is a breakthrough up like that. So that is why I'm currently looking for day trades on the Aussie dollar. All right, GBPUSD. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,300 longs and they got rid of 9,000 shorts, which leaves them 56% short on the British pound. We talked about in last week's Forex forecast that we are at daily supply. It has now been broken. So what I'm doing is kind of the same thing with the Aussie US dollar. Is I will be trading this 4-hour trend, right? So I'm going to be going and looking at 15-minute zones to trade to the upside. Because like I always say, I always trade with the trend. The trend is your friend. Looking at the 1-hour chart here, I do have an alert set up here to look for 15-minute zones after we make a new high. There is a 1-hour zone here that I don't feel comfortable setting and forgetting at, but you could look for 5-minute confirmation in this 1-hour zone if you trade the 5-minute chart. This 15-minute zone right here has already reacted, so there probably wasn't a 15-minute trade in there just yet. But to me on the pound, I'm just going to be trying to trade with this 4-hour trend. And on the daily chart, if you look, it's looking like this downward momentum wants to change, right? When we get up to this trend line, things could maybe turn around. But in my opinion, we could easily go up there. We're starting to see the signs that, the pound is going to go much higher. And that's kind of based on that 4-hour trend. So in my opinion, the only thing you should be doing right now in the pound is looking for longs based on this 4-hour trend, whether it's on a 5-minute chart. Me personally, I like to look for 15-minute zones, but like I said, you could look for 5-minute confirmation in this 1-hour zone. And that's what a lot of the Patreon members do and the YouTube members, because they get my chart analysis on a daily basis. They can get these 1-hour zones where they could look for 5-minute confirmation in them, and it seems to be working out for them. So definitely check out the Patreon and the YouTube membership. Links are in the description. You can look for all the confirmation you want in all of my zones, and it seems to be working nicely for them. So it could definitely help you in your trading. I hope to see you guys there. It helps support the channel, and it helps support your trading as well. So hopefully see you guys there. Like I said, links are in the description. Cheers. USDCAD. The past week, the banks added 4,700 longs and they added 3,800 short positions, which leaves them 69% long USDCAD. As you can see here on this daily chart, I talked about it last week. We're reacting off of this daily area of demand right here. So we could easily see some bullish pressure on USDCAD, but ultimately I do think that we are about to go down. It's, basically to me, it's all about, are we going to see a reaction up and then down, or are we going to blow right through this demand zone? It's pretty hard to tell, but in my opinion, you're going to notice a lot of the times I'm trading the same thing on a lot of these pairs. I'm trading this to the downside on this 4-hour chart. I'm basically going to trade with this 4-hour trend. We do have some old 4-hour demand over here that we're reacting off of, so it might be best to actually wait for that to break first and then look for 15-minute pullbacks. So as far as day trades go right now, it's not the greatest thing to be doing. In last week's Forex forecast, I talked about how this 1-hour zone was a decent zone, but I didn't want to take it as a set and forget. So if you're a Patreon member and you got my zones, or if you just watched my forecast, good for you. If you caught a 5-minute confirmation in there, that would have been a beautiful trade. So right now, I'm essentially just waiting for this low to be broken, and then I'll be looking for 15-minute set and forgets or 5-minute set and forgets based on the time frame that you trend. So that is currently what I'm waiting for on USDCAD. I don't want to trade in this sideways market. There is a little 1-hour zone here you could look for confirmation in, but in my opinion, it's very low odds, and it'll probably only really give you a 1-to-1. So if you do that, make sure that your win rate is high enough in order for you to take 1-to-1 type trade. USD Swiss, the Swiss franc. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,400 longs and they added 1,200 shorts, which has leave them at 82% long, the USD Swiss. I've had this daily zone drawn out for the Patreon and the YouTube members for a very long time, and we're reacting off of this daily zone right now in a daily uptrend. So in my opinion, looking for 1-hour momentum shift off of this daily area of demand is definitely all right. So if you come over to the 1-hour chart, what that's going to look like is basically this supply zone right here removed and a new high. And then if you want to look for 1-hour pullbacks, I think it's totally fine based on that daily trend, right? But it's very possible we react off this 1-hour zone and then we actually move to the downside even further. But in my opinion, it's best to wait. Is this going to be removed, or are we going to go lower? And it's going to be based all on this 1-hour chart, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And that's why you should definitely sign up for the Patreon, because if we do get a break like that and we do have a new 1-hour demand zone right here, you will get that zone updated on your chart, and that might be a high probability zone to take or look for confirmation in. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for on USD Swiss. And even on the 4-hour chart, we do have a 4-hour downtrend, so it might even be best to actually just wait for this whole 4-hour trend to change and then look for pullbacks. But in my opinion right now, the only thing I'd be doing on USD Swiss, based on this daily chart and the fact that we're on a daily uptrend and we're pulling back to daily demand, the only thing I'd be doing is looking for confirmation longs to the upside. All right, the Japanese yen, USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 17,000 longs and they added 4,200 short positions, which has left them at 76% long, according to the COT data. And if you look, we have a beautiful daily uptrend right now, and we're clearly going up. So I would not be shorting USD yen. I just don't want to, be trading counter trend like that. So what I'm doing is I'm on the 4-hour chart. We have a beautiful 4-hour trend. We reacted off of this 4-hour demand zone that I've had drawn for the Patreon members since about October 14th. So you could have looked for a 15-minute momentum shift off of this zone, and you pretty much had one right here, but you never really got the pullback. So I could actually see this 15-minute zone actually breaking. So what I'm doing on the USD yen is I'm simply just waiting for a new high to be formed like this, and then I'll be looking for 15-minute set and forgets. And I will be doing that during my live stream next week during the New York session. So definitely come check that out. Stop by. You can ask some questions and we can look at charts. But you'll get to basically see me in action taking these set and forget trades in a trending market. It's very high odds in my opinion, so that's what I always like to do. There is a 1-hour supply zone right here. You could look for 5-minute confirmation in here. It's very, very aggressive, so I do not recommend it. To me, it's better to continue to trade with that trend because the daily trend's up, the 4-hour trend's up, the 1-hour trend is up. So in my opinion, the only thing to be doing is looking for longs. Keep in mind, we are in weekly supply right now, but it is very, very tested. So I could actually see us easily blowing right through that zone. So in my opinion, the best thing to be doing right now is longs in USDJPY. It's all about getting those, fresh zones to the upside. All right, on to one of my favorite markets, gold. The past week, the banks added 2,500 longs and they got rid of 393 short positions, which leaves them 73% long on gold. If you look at the manipulation here, we had price react off this daily supply zone, and we rallied right up based on, I'm pretty sure it was inflation news. We rallied right up into this daily supply and then rallied right down. So that's why it's important to watch these supply and demand zones. And this supply zone was not drawn after the fact. I've had this supply zone drawn out since it was created, basically September 17th. Go back and watch my last weekly Forex forecast. I talked about this supply zone. So that's why it's very important to watch out for supply and demand. Whether or not you trade, you don't have to trade supply and demand, but it's very important to actually watch out for these, high selling areas and high demand areas, because right now we're in a demand zone right here. So in my opinion, we could either see a reaction up. I'm kind of thinking that we will see a move down. That's just kind of how I'm feeling about gold right now. It's really hard to tell, but I think that gold right now is not really on my watch list to trade. It's way too sideways for me on this daily chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we are in 4-hour demand right now. You could be looking for 15-minute longs, but like I said, I'm kind of thinking gold's going to go down, so it might be best to just take a 1-to-1. If if you win enough, 1-to-1s are fine. I personally don't like looking for 1-to-1s, so just keep in mind that we're in 4-hour demand. We easily could see something like that though, so definitely just watch that throughout the week. But yeah, gold is very sideways right now. It's very difficult to tell what's going to happen. We could easily go down to here. We could easily go up. Right now, it's all about just sitting on our toes and waiting. So there's going to be some day trading opportunities in gold, but as far as swing trading goes, entering on the 1-hour and the 4-hour, it's not the best to be doing right now. All right, on to crude oil. The past week, the banks added 15,000 longs and they added 8,000 shorts, which leaves them 78% long. If you look at the past 3 weeks, they've added 21,000 longs twice and now 15,000 longs. In my opinion, let me know in the comments down below what you think of that data. And that's why call reports are so useful, right? So I am going to continue to be buying crude oil. We reacted very nicely off of this 4-hour demand zone. If you took this 4-hour demand zone that I talked about last week, good for you. I personally didn't, based on the sloppiness of the zone, but if you did, or if you look for a 15-minute confirmation in there, great trade, good for you guys. If you're a Patreon member, let me know in the comments down below if you look for confirmation in there in my zone. Be much appreciated to let me know. We are reacting off of fresh weekly supply, so we could see a small reaction on oil. I think to pull back to 76, 77 is kind of possible right now. In my opinion, no, it's probably not going to happen. We'll probably break that supply zone. So if you look at this chart, all time frames are trending. So I'm looking for longs on a 15-minute. I'm looking for longs on 1-hour chart. I'm looking for longs on daily chart as well. If you look how well these zones are reacting, right? That's the power of supply and demand and trading with the trend. So my next move on oil is I'll be on a 15-minute chart. I'll be looking for, basically a big move like that, and then a continuation to the upside. I'm going to continue to buy oil until I, get stopped out, or I see, evidence that we're actually going to be going to the downside. But right now in oil, the best thing to be doing is looking for longs. And if you don't know where to get in long, definitely check out the Patreon or the YouTube membership. You can get all those zones for me. Look for confirmation in them. It's very convenient. It can definitely help you out with your trading. Alright everyone, thanks again for watching this week's Forex forecast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well if you don't mind. I really appreciate all the support. Let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're looking at this week, and maybe we can get in touch and you can send me a chart and let me know what you're looking at. I always like looking at charts. So with that being said, let's have a great trading week and let's make some money. Cheers.